Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure? It's cultist coffee. What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, here I am. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to the morning grind. It is so good to see you here this morning. I hope that you are up and at 'em. I'm trying this 72-hour productivity challenge over in the Ravenkeep Discord. We've got the productivity section. So I've been not getting up at my standard time. Got completely out of the habit. So I was up this morning working on writing the first Tales of Repivania movie script this morning. So I was working on that at 5 this morning. I did go down for a little bit of a nap after I had worked for a few hours, because I did go over to my brother's house yesterday and we played Hero Quest with the boys. That was a disaster. But then we had a fire pit and we talked, my brother and I and my sister-in-law talked late in the night. I didn't get back until after midnight last night. So a little bit tired. That's not the great way to start the productivity challenge, but hey, I'll take it. Got it done anyway. Wanted to be sure that I was up and working. Hey, Toadstool Hollow. Good morning, Toadstool Hollow. Good morning, Micah. Good morning. Draco is here, and Zero the Blade. Vision is here, as well as Academic Menace. Welcome, Academic Menace. It is so good to see you this morning. Oh, Vision says my War of Kings has shipped. Thank you to Geekverse. War of Kings is the first board game that I designed. It's the kingdom building, strategy, kingdom building, civilization building game. It's available on ravenkeep.net. Tomorrow, I think we'll finish looking at it. I'm trying to, my philosophy right now has been trying to finish things that are started. We have started looking at the Book of Vile Darkness. I bet we'll finish looking at it today. It has been a fantastic conversation to have. It might take another day, but we're just going to finish the Book of Vile Darkness. Then I'm going to go and we need another day on War of Kings because we didn't finish all of its rules. So we will finish that after that. And then I do have other things to look at. I want us to look at the Dark Sun campaign setting. So I've got that in digital format. So we'll take a look at Dark Sun and discuss that and see what's going on with Dark Sun. I think that's a really good topic. Zero Theory is here. But then you know that I am a fan of angels, demons, heaven and hell, those type of themes. And so I also happen to have gotten the Warriors of Heaven in here from AD&D. So I've got the Warriors of Heaven book here. I want to look at that. I also have the Guide to Hell, so we can take a look at that. And then I also have, because I'm curious, I've never been spell jamming, so I ended up getting not the new book, but the Complete Spacefarer's Handbook for spell jamming. So I've got that as well. So I need to come up with a stack of books to go through and process here on the Morning Grind and go through and check out. So I hope you are interested at these. Interested in those. Those will be coming up. Zero Theory asks, have I ever looked at Cult? I think people have told me about that one before. So I'm not familiar with it. No. Oh, yeah. See, people have told me about this one. So we do need to come up and talk about this one too. We need to go to Innomine. I hadn't thought about Innomine in a long time before somebody told me about it or reminded me of it on the Morning Grind here. So Cult, Swedish for Cult, is a contemporary horror role-playing game originally created by Ganilia Johnson and Michael Pearson. It's notable for its philosophical and religious depth, as well as its mature and controversial content. Oh, religious depth, philosophical material, mature and controversial content. Well, okay, I'm going to need to get that. we'll need to look at that. Okay, so anyway, get your coffee this morning. I was just warming up my coffee again I need some coffee after the late night last night. I was very glad that I did it because human interaction is so important. Late light last night, I got Cultist. I got Witch's Brew right here this morning. Witch's Brew coffee in the Witch's Brew mug, which is available on ravenkeep.net as well. And then let's breathe and sip. 2 breaths, deep inhale, complete exhale, and then sip. We talked a lot about, that makes the morning feel so much better. We talked a lot about AI last night, and I thought that was interesting because they had not, my brother and my sister-in-law had not heard of Midjourney. They had never seen, I was showing them Midjourney because it's easy. And then also ChatGPT. So they were out of that loop with everything that's been happening out there. Hey, if you're here and you're not part of the Discord server, Ravenkeep Discord server, let me put this in the chat, and then we will get started here. Would love to have you over there. All right. How about something like that? Academic Menace says, well, I don't know. That's not on the docket right now. I was trying. We didn't get a whole lot of. Academic Menace asks, when might we see a new season of the Cultists? Well, we didn't get a whole lot of. We didn't get the level of attention paid to the Cultist season 2 that I would have liked. I mean, we had a lot more views of the Cultist season 1. We didn't have the energy and enthusiasm for season 2 like we had for season 1. which is which I really hate because it was such a good season, and I still hope to be able to get more people to take a look at it. But I was planning on trying to do the Ritual board game in order to try to fund the Cultist season 3. But because we didn't get the group behind it and the crowd behind it, I don't think that's a good thing to do, because I don't think we'll be able to fund. If we're going to do something like a board game for the Cultists, we would need a lot of people to be able to not only fund the board games, we'd have to pay for a minimum print run of the board game and all of that. But then we would also have to be able to raise enough money beyond that in order to shoot a 3rd season of the show. And that show is an expensive show to produce. So I really wanted to be able to do that, but we just did not have the energy here on YouTube for it. That doesn't mean that later we won't. Maybe if I can come up much later with some advertising dollars for the season 2 of the show in order to get it watched, maybe we'll bring in some more people. But also, you know, one of the major reasons that I was doing the Cultists was to practice all of our video production in order to be able to make our teaser trailers and other similar related material for our pitches for the different sci-fi and fantasy shows that Brianna and I are trying to pitch and want to create pitches for to go out to LA with. But with the changes in AI technology and everything that's coming out there, I'm no longer sure that learning the traditional technology of trying to go out with a whole bunch of people and a crew and things like that to shoot a show is really necessary. So that's one of the things that I've been reevaluating. So it might be that I end up dropping Ritual and not doing that project. I was reevaluating all of my different projects and productivity. And so that one may be one that's no longer really relevant to do. I would still love to be able to do a 3rd season of the Cultists, but we will see. We need bigger energy around the kinds of stuff that we are doing here, and to get the word out more about it. I think in order to be able to do that. So I'm going to post an update. I was actually writing an update to the Ritual campaign page about that, because we had thought, actually, as our discussion here, that maybe we could launch around late February. Maybe since we weren't able to have the energy around the Cultists season 2, that maybe we could launch that campaign around the end of February. Well, the end of February came and went, so I don't know. So that's kind of my thought there. Vision says, don't forget to like the stream. So please do like the stream. Please do. That will be a big help. Looks like, okay, we got some spam over on Twitch, but that's all right. It's not on YouTube. So anyway, that's my story. So, it may be that we could use some kind of other technology to create something for the Cultist season 3. I don't know. But we need more people. That's our bottom line. But yes, Vision, please, says, please like the stream. If you are here, please do like the stream. The season 3 scripts are written. Brianna and I have written the season 3 scripts. They're about 95% done. I think there were 2 different scenes that still needed to be polished up. Brianna was done with it, but I needed to think about 2 different scenes. And I'd probably by this time look at all the scripts again. But they're great. They're great. The season 3 scripts are great. I would love to find some way to get them produced, but they are expensive. All right. So let's go over here to the Book of Vile Darkness. Let us see what is going on over here in the world of darkness. How about that? We had just been taking a look through magic, and I thought the magic section was good. I've been very impressed, as I think a lot of people have been, with this book. And it seems like people do come by and say, oh yeah, this was one of my favorite books in 3rd edition. So it seems like the subject is being treated well, even if it's only a springboard for conversation, even if you do some things a little bit differently. But the philosophy sections, I got things started. A lot of the different, I didn't have much need for the prestige classes, I wouldn't say. But some people said they used them a lot for creating big, bad, evil guys. But I love the stuff on sacrifices and magic kinds of things, and then also the magic itself. So let's continue on to evil magic items. Oh, hey, Daniel. Welcome. I've finally taken the plunge to join the Discord server. I'm not social, but I wanted in on the productivity challenge. Okay, fantastic. So if you need help holding yourself accountable, which is what I'm going to be doing as well, there is a productivity section of the Discord server, a productivity channel, and then also a channel for heeding the call to adventure. So if you are up and working on what you want to work on at the time you want to work on it, then you post to the call to adventure section. So I'm very glad to have you. Very glad to have you. At least you can see what's going on. You don't have to participate. Nobody has to participate with what's going on. But the Ravenkeep Discord, if you just want to read and keep up with what's going on, the Ravenkeep Discord server is a good place to do that. I'm trying to post there quite a bit more, and especially with the worlds that we're developing, you get all of there are different channels for all the different worlds and the videos that are being posted and things like that as they're coming out. So we're still getting started with some of that, a lot of that, but it's all organized. I've been organizing and sorting the Discord server for all the new stuff that we're doing. Okay, so the forces of darkness are almost always well-armed and fiendishly equipped. The following sections detail magic items of all varieties with their only innate malevolence to tie them together as a cohesive whole. So we've got armor special abilities. So these armor special abilities are available in addition to other special abilities given in the Dungeon Master's Guide and other sources. Hey, is my audio? Nobody said something's wrong with my audio. Okay, so I'm on the right microphone. So as I recall in third, and it's been a long time, so you've got your standard +1, +2, +3 modifiers for different weapons and armor, but then you have different different special abilities that go along with different. So, for instance, caster level 7th. A caster level has to be at least 7th. Caster has to be at least 7th level to add this special ability onto armor with prerequisites: craft magic arms and armor, protection from good, and market price with a +1 bonus. So a piece of armor would have to have at least a +1 bonus in order to get Dark Soul protection. The wearer of this armor, if of evil alignment, takes only half damage from spells or effects that cause greater damage to evil creatures, such as the Holy Smite spell, the Smite evil ability of a paladin, or the extra damage dealt by a holy weapon. Demon Might Ward. The armor class. This armor increases the wearer's enhancement bonus to armor class by +1 against attacks from creatures of good alignment or by +2 from good outsiders. Further, it provides a +1 bonus on all saving throws against spells and spell-like abilities from good creatures, and +2 bonuses on saving throws against spells with the good descriptor. We also have a poison spike, but then we also have specific armors. The following specific armors and shields are usually pre-constructed with exactly the qualities described here. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they are unique. Armor of the Dread Emperor. That's a +1 full suit with 4 5-foot chains connected at the waist. Helps to subdue people. Flesh Shifter Armor, made from the skins of humanoids. This +1 leather armor allows the wearer to produce an effect identical to that of the Alter Self spell at will. Thank you, Vision. Vision says audio is good. I figured nobody said anything about it, but I have to swap back and forth microphones between Crafter's Corner and this. Zero the Blade says, hopefully I can write up more sections. Zero the Blade's working on an RPG. So that's going on. So hopefully you can. Hopefully you can meet your productivity goals. Grim Defender. +1 breastplate, razor armor, made of layers and layers of razor sharp scales. This is +2 scale armor. Deals 2d6 points of slashing damage with successful grapple check, and when the wearer is grappling. So weapon special abilities. We've got blood feeding. Every time this weapon deals damage to a creature with blood, it gains 1 blood point. When the weapon has 5 blood points, it can deal an additional 1 point of damage at the user's behest, spending the blood points. The weapon can store up to 50 blood points, allowing an additional 10 points of damage usable all at once or divided over a number of attacks. Well, yeah, if you get up to 50 blood points, that's quite a bonus amount of damage. Curse spewing, flesh grinding. We got this thief and a watch cap here, taking out an angel here. Marrow crushing, master slaying, soul drinking. What's the soul drinking special ability? Do we have this kind of stuff in 5th edition? I don't remember all of this. Like, once you go back and you read some of 3rd edition, it makes me more excited about some things. Soul drinking. This melee weapon bestows 1 negative level. Oh, we talked about how we don't have negative levels in 5th edition. Soul drinking. This melee weapon bestows 1 negative level each time it deals damage normally. When the wielder scores a critical hit with a weapon, it bestows 2 negative levels, and the wielder gains 1d8 temporary hit points and +2 enhancement bonus to strength. The temporary hit point and enchantment bonuses fade after 1 hour. What's Vile? This is the book of Vile Darkness. So every time the weapon deals damage, it deals an additional 1 point of Vile damage. If the weapon scores a critical hit, it deals 2 additional points of Vile damage. Specific weapon. Oh, Angel Killer. Uh-oh. This +3 Unholy Greatsword forces any Celestial it damages to succeed a Fortitude save DC 20 or be destroyed. Ugh. Blackguard's Blade. We were looking at Blackguards last time, too. Made of black iron and covered in evil symbols engraved on the blade, this +2 longsword adds +10 damage to the wielder's Smite Good ability. Harrow Heart. This +2 rapier deals ×3 damage when it scores a critical hit on a creature of good alignment rather than normal +2 or ×2. Hell's Heart Arrow. This +1 arrow, when fired, passes through creatures of evil alignment. Such creatures offer no cover bonus, nor do they count when determining when the archer firing into melee. When the archer firing into melee must take a -4 penalty. That one's cool. Oh, Micah is also working on an RPG. Likewise, got 3 mini mechanics updated for the Farad system, 4th alpha, but sustenance and hygiene are super minor optional ones, and the other is respiration. That does so a bit more important. So respiration, that does sound a bit more important. Sacrificial Knife. This +1 dagger adds +3 competence bonus on knowledge religion checks required when a sacrifice is made with the knife. We've got rings here. Vile Weapon Ring. This is a black metal band with a small ruby. When worn, each melee attack made with the wearer deals 1 extra point of vile damage. Rods as well. Celestial Bane Rod, Harrow Rod. That sprays a cone of acid. Rod of Possession. This rod allows a willing user to draw a fiend or malevolent ghost into himself for possession. Again, sounds rather Diablo-like. When the rod is activated, the wielder is automatically possessed by the nearest appropriate possessing creature, even if the creature is unwilling. The identity and attitude of the creature nearest spirit are often at the GM's discretion. Flesh Eater Staff, Staff of Corruption, Staff of Darkness, Staff of Pestilence, other wondrous items, Collar of Venom, Dark Altar Stone. This piece of black granite, if used as an altar or part of an altar, can be commanded to absorb the soul of a victim sacrificed on the altar. The soul is stored as if in a gem as part of a Trap the Soul spell. It can be called forth and used in the various ways described in the Souls as Power section in Chapter 2. A dark stone altar can store only 1 soul at a time. Elixir of Dark Speech. What is Heaven's Thorn? Despite its sharp point, this dark green dagger-sized thorn makes a poor weapon because it is too brittle and fragile. However, when it breaks against the flesh of a good-aligned outsider requiring a touch attack, it releases a terrible energy that stuns the target for 1d4 rounds. Go Nipple Clamp of Exquisite Pain. Let's skip that one. Piercing Needles of Pain. Quiver of Lies. Slime Pot. Now, artifacts. Oh, okay. We got some pretty cool artifacts, it looks like, over here. We got Angel Blood. This fluid comes in a flask. It's not actually a magic item in that no one created it. It's really the blood of a celestial gathered and stored during a specific ritual. The liquid deals 5d6 points of acid damage when thrown as a grenade-like weapon, but only against non-celestial creatures. Angel tears. Hardened into tiny crystals, these tears, like angel blood, were created by no spellcaster. Instead, they are gathered from places where angels have felt sorrow or pain, using some long-lost dark processes. Evil creatures have learned to make angel tears into hurled weapons such as stones. They work well in slings, too. So cursed are the things, they deal 3d6 points of damage to any creature they break against. The target is automatically considered exhausted, and the target must succeed a fortitude saving throw, DC 18, or take 1d8 points of strength drain. Zero Theory says, I was finally happy to push an update to the dark out, ready to switch gears to a new idea. Cool! That's all, getting something finished. Like I was saying, I've got tons of projects that are floating around. Good to finish one so you can move on to a new idea. These sounds like black soul gems, talking about angel tears. Could be demon blood. So what's the opposite of angel blood? Demon blood. When this dark blood, gathered using a special process and an unholy ritual, is sprinkled over a 100-foot radius area, that area is treated as though affected by an unhallowed spell. Further, nothing natural can grow in that area ever again. Demon stone. Here's devil blood. When used to coat a blade, this black ichor acts as a poison the next 13 times the weapon strikes. The poison, fortitude save DC 20, deals 1d6 points of strength damage as an initial damage and 2d6 points of strength damage as secondary damage. Diabolical engines and demonic devices. Cauldron of zombie spewing. The devils that created this device wanted to mass produce undead. This artifact is a mass of strange tubes, bubbling glass containers, and liquid-filled troughs that focus around a gigantic black cauldron 13 feet in diameter. When 50 medium-sized corpses are thrown into the device and mixed with strange chemicals in a single dose of liquid pain, the contents of the cauldron stew and boil for 24 hours. Then great horizontally pivoting levers spew forth onto the ground 4d12 medium-sized zombies. Not every corpse becomes a zombie because some are liquefied and mulched as part of the process. The zombies obey the command of any devil present within the first 3 rounds of their creation. I guess that's what this over here is. Major artifacts. Angel wing razor. This long thin blade is not made from angel wings. Rather, it was honed on them, on the wings of dead and captive celestials. This hideous process, conducted by the elf warlord Urgatil, before going into battle against gold dragon armies, sharpened the blade to an impossibly fine edge. Angel wing razor is a +5 Vorpal longsword that ignores damage reduction and hardness of any kind. It can even cut through a wall of force or similar effect. The Regalia of Evil. These 3 separate artifacts possess great power, and even greater power when used together. In eons past, before humanity was born, and perhaps even before the world was forged, the gods of darkness and corruption worked together to outfit a champion to pit against the gods of light and the lords of balance. Since then, champions of evil have used the Regalia of Evil whenever a dispute is needed to be settled against a similarly equipped champion of good or neutrality, each faction having its own regalia. I liked in Diablo the different suits of armor that you could assemble and have complete suits. And then they had powers alone, but had even more power once you actually put them all together. I like that. So this may be that kind of idea. I'm not sure where this came from, but I do like that idea. I wish we actually saw more of that. So what have we got here? It may be that today these contests of champions no longer occur, and the individual items of the regalia have fallen into mortal hands. Still, the gods of evil occasionally check on the devices that they created long ago. It has been millennia since all 3 items of the regalia of evil were used by a single being. So the crown of evil. This iron crown is crude and rough, fashioned to look like black flames black flames wreathing the head of the wearer. When an evil creature puts on the crown, its head is surrounded by reddish-black flame. These flames conceal the wearer's face. The wearer gains fire immunity, +4 enhancement bonus to strength, +4 deflection bonus to armor class, and spell resistance 20. It can use the unnerving gaze at will as a spell-like ability and can use the following spell-like abilities 3 times per day: Create Undead, Hellfire, and Wall of Force. All spell-like abilities are 20th level. The wearer can speak only lies when wearing the crown. So usually the wearer of the crown doesn't speak. The Scepter of Evil. This rod is made of iron and draped in chains. A dark red flame is always lit at one end, but it gives off no heat. When in the character's possession, the scepter confers +4 enhancement bonus to charisma. The wielder can use each of the following spell-like abilities 3 times per day: Fear, Corrupt Fireball, Red Fester, and Power Leech, all at 20th level. The owner of this device slowly becomes more and more egotistical. Daniel says, in Oblivion, Aragonian female voice, Black Soul Gems. Zero Theory says, only lies. Wow. The Last Phoenix says, the crown alone is broken as hell. Well, it is the crown of evil. I mean, you would expect it. If it's going to be broken in some way, broken as hell would make sense, right? we had talked about, I think last time, that some of these spells were very powerful, and I think that's why some people were saying that maybe they should just be used for the used for bad guys, used for the NPCs, because that is a heck of a crown. So, you know, up to the game master to employ and balance, I suppose. Even some of those other just general magic items I thought were powerful. Hey, Tough Years. Good to see you, Tough Years. That's a good question. How does he give orders to minions? Well, it does say that this is used whenever a dispute needs to be settled against a similarly equipped champion of good or neutrality. So is this intended to be put on in order to go into one-on-one combat? Daniel says, it honestly sounds like a hard curse to roleplay to only be able to lie. If you hate your fireballing wizard sorcerer, make the big bad evil guy immune to fire damage. Yep, that would stop the fireball slinging, right? The crown gives fire immunity, a +4 bonus to strength, +4 bonus to armor class, spell resistance 20. I mean, spell resistance 20, that's also going to put a cramp on other spells as well. So what does the Orb of Evil do? This 6-inch diameter orb is made of pitted and scarred iron. Red sparks fly from the orb at the slightest touch. The wielder can rebuke and command undead as a 15th level cleric can. While in a character's possession, the orb confers a +4 enchantment bonus to wisdom. Furthermore, the orb can absorb spells such as a Rod of Absorption can. The owner slowly grows greedier over time. So the Regalia of Evil has greater powers called resonating effects if the same creature owns more than one of the items. So if 2 items that you own, when a single creature possesses 2 items of the Regalia of Evil, it gains the effects of the Lich-loved, Dark Speech, Evil Brand, and Vermin Friend feats. Save DCs on all the evil spells and spell-like abilities of the creatures are increased by 2. What is Lich-loved? I think we looked at Dark Speech. But what is the Lich-loved feat? Here's feats. Lich-loved Vile. By repeatedly committing perverted sex acts with the undead, the character gains dread powers. Okay, well that's something else. Benefit. So the benefit, though, is that mindless undead see the character as an undead creature. Becoming more and more like an actual undead creature, he gains a +1 circumstance bonus on saving throws against mind affecting effects. such, and also poison, sleep, paralysis, stunning, and disease. Okay. If you've got all three items, though, when a single creature possesses all three items of the Regalia of Evil, it gains a +4 enhancement bonus to Constitution, Dexterity, and Intelligence. All weapons dealt by the wielder is vile. All weapon damage dealt by the wielder is vile damage. Any non-evil character attempting to use any of the items that comprise the Regalia of Evil immediately takes 5d6 points of damage. Yeah, maybe I didn't. Thanks, Jason. I see that in time. Yeah, well, it apparently so. So, Lords of Evil is next. So, moving on to Chapter 7, we get to Lords of Evil, which I think I'm not going to go over in great detail, all the different people. I want to see evil plane variants. I want to talk about the Blood War right here, because I think most of this chapter right here is your stats for a bunch of different evil creatures. And I think we're about to get into actually the evil creatures, but I think these are like the gods that, or the demons that run the lower levels of hell, which we're going to glance by, but that's why I thought that maybe we'd be able to wrap this up today, because I don't think we need to go over. I don't want to go through every one of them for me personally. If you need them, they're here, but I don't need to look at a whole bunch of NPCs. Daniel says, well, this is the book of vile darkness, not the book of petty villainy, or just like petty larceny or something like that. Not that book. So we've got the general stuff about the lower planes here. Now, the Blood War, the demons and devils, because we are contrasting demons and devils here. Micah says, sounds fun to me if the rest of the party ends up aware of it, but I can't lift it. It says the Blood Wars, we're fighting between the demons and devils here. The demons and devils have long engaged in a war for control of the lower planes. This is a battle of law versus chaos, and it serves as a distraction from the unaging fiends that live in the lower planes. The demons of the abyss marshal armies of almost infinite size and throw themselves against the well-organized but smaller ranks of the devils. So the demons are the chaotic ones, and the devils are the lawful ones. Yuggoloths and other creatures serve on either side as mercenaries. The Blood War is fought on and near the river Styx, across the fields of Nettles and Hades, and even into the heart of the abyss and the deepest pits of the 9 hells. Occasionally, the conflict even spills into the material plane, endangering mortals and threatening destruction on a scale virtually unknown on peaceful worlds. As vast as the scope of the cosmic war is, more fiends still devote most of their attention to capturing the hearts and souls of mortal creatures and sowing depravity, destruction, and the unspeakable things that enter into the minds of a fiend. Will the fiends ever annihilate each other? Mortal creatures will never be so lucky. But we do have evil plane variants here. It says, of course, you could develop your own cosmology. You could take out the in-between planes and just have the 9 hells, the abyss, and Hades. Or perhaps there is only one lower plane, just called hell. This dismal plane is home to demons and devils and all manner of fiends. In such a setup, there might not even be a distinction between demons and devils, so those words are merely synonyms. Or perhaps there is a plane of law and a plane of chaos, and each of them has a dark, bottomless pit in its lower reaches where the fiends live, devils in the plane of law and demons in the plane of chaos. Another possibility is there is an infinite number of hells, each more horrible than the last. Each is perhaps home to its own archduke or prince, some leaning towards law and others chaos. Or perhaps law and chaos do not even matter to creatures of such unsurpassing evil. So, some of you probably know all the demon lords better than I do, demon and devil's lord. Demigorgon, prince of demons. That's the 88th level of the abyss. servants. I see lots of info there. Gratz. I've heard Gratz's name several times. Gratz, the Dark Prince. One of the most powerful demons in all the Abyss. Gratz is the lord of 3 layers of that plane. He is tall, dark, handsome demon with shiny black skin and green glowing eyes. Jubilex, the Faceless Lord, is a loathsome demon of slime and ooze. Even most demons shun him, and the demon princes are said to refer to him contemptuously as the Lord of Nothing. He is among the weakest demon lords, but is a terrifying foe nonetheless. Orcus, demon prince of the undead. I know that name for sure. Orcus is a massive, bloated demon prince, bloated on spite, bile, and contempt. After becoming complacent with his wars against Demigorgon and Gratz waning, Orcus was murdered and disposed. But then Orcus rose from the dead, an undead demon, and took the name Tenebrous for a time, hiding in the shadows and waiting to take his revenge. Now he has reinstated himself to his former position and taken up residence in Nartyre, a terrible fortress city in the abyss on Thanatos. Yinagu, demon prince of gnolls. It may be that Yiganu was once a mortal gnoll, or it may be this bestial and savage demon he simply saw a kinship with gnolls. In any event, this demon prince considers himself the patron of gnolls, and indeed many gnolls do pay him homage. Tasha's boyfriend? Really? Nowadays, when you say Demigorgon, people will think about that flower thing from Stranger Things. If I recall, at least in one edition of D&D Past, the Demigorgon was thought to be the demiurge that initially created reality. Really? Mr. Tall, Dark, and Handsome himself. Also father to the demigod Ius, Greyhawk's answer to Sauron. I remember Ius. I've read a little bit of Greyhawk. We mainly played in Forgotten Realms, but wasn't it 3rd edition that's Greyhawk was its default campaign setting? So I think I read a bunch of Forgotten Greyhawk stuff at that time. Did they really call the demon prince of Gnolls Yin? Well, yeah, it's YEENOGHU. So, yes, there you go. We've got the archdevils over here. Like the demon princes, the archdevils are the greatest of their kind and wholly unique. Unlike the demon counterparts, however, the archdevils are organized in a strict hierarchy. The archdevils may make open war upon... the archdevils rarely make open war upon one another. Instead, they plot and scheme an intricate web of duplicity and betrayal. The archdevils are also called the Lords of Hell. The dukes are archdukes of Hell and the Lords of the Nine. Together, they rule all layers of the 9 hells. Together, each archdevil has its own dark place, legions of devils and monsters, and schemes to gain more power. So, Bel, Lord of the First. Bel is one of the newer lords of the 9 hells, currently the ruler of Avernus, the first layer. He is the only archdevil to spend more of his time worrying about the blood war than hell's own politics. Although he rose through the ranks based on his own skill and power, and victories over the demons, the former pit fiend enjoys support of none other than the Lords of Hell. He enjoys support of none of the Lords of Hell. Bel is, however, held in high favor among the Dark Eight, and that is not a bit of influence to be overlooked. Dispater, Lord of the Second. Dispater is the Iron Duke, the Lord of the Iron City of Dis. He is home to the Iron Tower, an impregnable fortress made to protect the paranoid archdevil. Dispater is the picture of caution and thought. Careful thought. I guess that's him right here. Oh, well, okay, I didn't get it either. I was wondering what Yeen was. I was wondering. I thought that had something to do with something about other gnolls in D&D. Okay, so I got it. Bell replaced by that fallen angel lady in 5e. I knew some people would know the demons and devils better than I do. Mammon, Lord of the Third. Mammon, the Lord of the Hell's third layer, has long been a power-hungry schemer. He's the epitome of selfishness, greed, and lust. The archdevil lives in a golden, jewel-encrusted palace that some have claimed looks more like a tomb than a home. I guess that is Mammon right there. Belial, or Firina, the Lord of the Fourth. Or Firna. Belial, Firna. Technically, the Lady Firna rules the fourth layer of the pit, known as Phlegagos. Phlegathos. Most devils know, however, that Belial, her father, and the former ruler of the lair actually runs things from behind the scenes. Firna has gained a reputation for insatiable consumer of males with little care or discrimination. Her father is really no better, quenching his dark needs often with captive slaves and other devils. Some say that Firna and Belial's relationship has been consummated in incestuous ways. Fiarna dwells in a flaming palace of rough rock, deep caverns, and pools of magma. Both Firna and her father are tall, dark humanoids with small horns on their forehead. Both are quite handsome and sexual with smoldering red eyes. They dress in regal finery. Belial always carries his ranseur, but Firna never wields a weapon, relying on her flame blade attack. So that's them right there. Levistus, Lord of the Fifth. Prince Levistus, as he calls himself, is an ancient being. He rules the fifth layer of hell, Stygia, for eons. He was known through many planes as a swordsman of great prowess. He ended many conflicts with a personal duel, always resulting in the death of his opponent. Levistus was a schemer and betrayer as well, the rogue archdevil, as he was sometimes called. He had no allies, yet still his power was great. Yeah, a lot of them are. Well, and also the idea of 9 hells. I'm using 9 hells in Theophany because it does come from such classic places like these things come from Dante's Inferno or Paradise Lost. No, Dante's Inferno had 9 hells, right? Yeah, Dante's Inferno. You go through all the layers of hell and also all the layers of heaven as well. So it's 7 heavens, 9 hells, which is pretty traditional, which is what I want to use. But I noticed that George R.R. Martin in A Song of Ice and Fire, I don't know if he talks about how many heavens there are, but he talks about the 7 hells. I think he probably deliberately took the number of traditional heavens and gave that to the hells in Game of Thrones. The Hag Countess, Lord of the Sixth. The Hag Countess is different from every other archdevil in at least 2 ways. First, she is not a Beatazu, but a night hag. Second, she is aloof and unpredictable, less lawful than the other archdevils, but just as evil. The Hag Countess was the lover of the previous ruler of the 6th layer, Moloch. When he was cast down by Asmodius, she took his place. Most believe the Hag Countess set Moloch up, and it's possible that he will return for revenge someday. Like the lesser night hag she considers sisters, the Hag Countess rides a nightmare. The Hag Countess's citadel is known as one of the surest and most expensive places to get a large amount of souls in all the 9 hells. The Hag Countess looks like a hideous, ugly female human with flesh the color of deep bruise, covered in warts, blisters, and open sores. Unlike normal night hags, she has ratty, tattered, black feathered wings on her back, making her look like a terrible reverse image of an angel. Her eyes shine with a hellish red light, and her fetid breath stinks of rotten meat. Beelzebul, Lord of the Seventh. One of the mightiest of the archdevils, Baalzebul, is known as the Lord of Flies, Lord of Lies, the Fallen One, and more recently, the Slug Archduke. Wait, that's him? Beelzebul is a big slug? All right. Originally an archon named Triul, who dwelt in the good-aligned plains, Beelzebul succumbed to temptation, craving more power and authority than heaven would grant him. His quest for perfection took him too far, and he was blinded by ambition. Soon he found himself in hell in a new form, a tall, powerful, dark-skinned humanoid with the compound eyes of a fly. Beelzebul, as he started to call himself, quickly gathered a great deal of support and power, as well as the blessings of Asmodius. He set himself up as an archdevil and ruled Maladomini, the seventh layer. He quickly became a rival to Mephistopheles, and thus Dispater as well. He also gained some allies, notably Belial. After the reckoning, Beelzebul fell from Asmodius' favor and was cursed with a different form, that of a giant slug with tiny malformed arms, buzzing flies and crawling around him constantly. The stench around Beelzebul is infamous. The curse causes stinking piles of rotting garbage and feces to accumulate wherever he spends time. So now the slug archduke lives in the palace of filth under the blue-black skies of Maladomini, plotting revenge. Well, okay, I was not expecting that for Beelzebul. Mephistopheles, Lord of the Eighth. You do? Oh, I guess so. So Descent 1 says, I like how you can see his original angel-shaped skeleton inside the translucent slug. You can actually see the skull up here. And that's probably some type of spine back here. So that is pretty cool. Slug with a skull face. So Mephistopheles, Lord of the Eighth. Very classic-looking demon here. Or devil in this case. Mephistopheles is an archdevil who has long held a great deal of power in hell. He is allied with Dispater and is a bitter rival of Beelzebul. Mephistopheles rules over the frozen wastes of Cania, the eighth layer of hell. As such, he has become immune to cold by ruthlessly exposing himself to the most frigid temperatures on Cania. Mephistopheles displays a facade of charm, civility, and understated wit. Secretly, he has a terrible temper and flies into frequent rages while in his palace in Cania, a citadel called Mephistar, built on a massive glacier in the frigid layer. From there, Mephistopheles commands legions of Gel-Ugans, including a vast army that does nothing but guard the entrance to Nessus, the bottom of the pit where Asmodius dwells. Of late, Mephistar has become a place of scorching flame at the center of the icy plain, however, as the Gelians have slowly relocated elsewhere, replaced by pit fiends, Cornugans, and Barbazu. Mephistopheles has developed an extremely hot, corrupt type of energy known as hellfire, tapped from the substance of the plane itself. Its use is spread through many of the archdevils and his servants. None are as adept with hellfire as Mephistopheles, however. To further his mastery of fire, he has taken up the study of wizardry, specifically evocation. Mephistopheles is quickly gaining a reputation as an archdevil of contradictions. 9 feet tall with hell-red skin, bat wings, white eyes, horns jutting from his forehead, and straight black hair, Mephistopheles plays up his appearance to be the consummately diabolical as possible. He swathes himself in flowing black capes and wields a 3-pronged ranseur. Mephistopheles constantly adopts new symbols. His current one is a red hand with black fingernails shrouded in dark flames. So Asmodius is Lord of the Ninth. Asmodius the Archfiend, the overlooked and overlord of the Dukes of Hell, commands all devil kind and reigns as the undisputed master of the 9 hells. Even the deities that call that plane home pay Asmodius a great deal of respect. Even deities do. Asmodius is certainly older than any devil in hell, although some say he was not the plane's first ruler. On the other hand, some reports claim that he is indeed the original primal force of evil in the multiverse. The actions of Asmodius are often mysterious to outside observers, but that is due to the short-sighted and dim-witted view that most beings have. Asmodius's manipulations are labyrinthine and insidious. They work on a grand scale, although what suits his need is willing to focus his attention even more on the status of a lowly mortal soul. During the reckoning, Asmodius, I don't know what the reckoning is. Maybe that's something about the hells will tell us what that is. During the reckoning, Asmodius showed that he could take on virtually all of the archdevils in hell and arise triumphant when the smoke clears. His will alone dictates who rules the various layers of hell. Once a year, he gathers the archdevils together in his home in Nessus, a fortress called Malachim. None have ever refused this call. Even Levistus is briefly freed from his imprisonment to attend and sulk through this gathering. Asmodius stands over 13 feet tall with lustrous dark skin and dark hair. He is handsome in a way that a thunderstorm is beautiful. His red eyes shine with power of hell, and his head is crowned with a pair of small dark horns. He dresses in finery of red and black. A single garment of his might cost what an entire nation spends in a year. Of course, he is never without his ruby rod, an ornate piece of unparalleled jewelry, finery, and vast magic power. So there he is. They did have information on the cults dedicated to each one of these as well. Then we go over here to evil monsters. Yeah, let's go through evil monsters. I think because this is the last chapter here. I don't think it'll take too long. So rather than just the demons and devils, these are actually, well, the lords. So these are, I guess, more your rank and file stuff. So what do we have here? Main, Rudderkin, Bar Lagura, Leaping Demons, Babu. Babus are powerful assassins that strike with a sudden ferocity. Here is Shadow Demons. Shadow Demons are denizens of the abyss without corporeal form, formed from the very essence of evil on the plane. They skitter and flit about with great speed and supernatural nimbleness, often mistaken for undead shadows. We've got Chasm, which are disgusting fly-like demons. Over here, we've got devils. Devils are fiends native to the 9 hells. The more numerous are the Batazu, who are infamous for their strength, evil temperament, and ruthlessness, efficient organization. Beatazu have a rigid caste system in which authority derives not only from the power, but from station. They occupy themselves mainly with extending their influence throughout the planes by corrupting mortals. Eye of Fear and Flame. The Eye of Fear and Flame is an undead creature created by the god of chaos and evil to spread destruction and darkness. Through their malevolent divine power, they take the dead soul of a chaotic evil madman and give him in the animated skeletal form in which to roam and do their will. Let loose among mortals, the Eye of Fear and Flame commands all it encounters to commit evil acts or be destroyed. Kython. Those kind of look like aliens. Daniel says the reckoning was a failed coup by all the other lords of hell against Asmodius. That's why so many were cursed or removed from their station. Basically, the setting reset to the status quo from Planescape to this edition. I see. Descent says, Eye of Fear and Flame is an update of a classic first edition monster. Yeah, that seems pretty cool. That also looks alien-like. Slaughter King. Impalers, Slay Masters. Voth. Vile White. Vile wights are undead creatures, the remains of those that delve too far and too long into the black arts. They resemble wights, eyes burning with malevolence, teeth like sharp, jagged needles, and leathery, desiccated flesh. The torso of vile wight tears open when it rises from the dead, exposing dried, rubbery intestines. These guts function as limbs, snaking out of the wound as multiple tendrils. Each tendril ends in a vicious mouth, dripping bile. These undead creatures haunt graveyards and necropolises, but they also can be found in giant libraries and hidden cellars beneath wizards' guilds. Bone creatures, corpse creatures, corrupted creatures, appendix, evil PCs. Oh, so we have a little bit of information on evil PCs. Let's see what it says about that. Vile is the new epic. Yeah. So, evil PCs. What does it say about this? A single evil PC. Go into this territory with your eyes open. The potential for player versus player conflict when PCs have opposing alignments becomes very high. This might not be a bad thing. Sometimes, in fact, it's fun to have a PC in on it, working as a spy or agent for the bad guys. For example, suppose the PCs are heroes determined to stop a blackguard who's intent on creating an evil school for pupils to learn dark arts. The blackguard assigns one of the students to join the heroes, pretending to be their ally so we can spy on them and eventually betray them. The DM and the player work out this ahead of time, and the GM tells the player that it's quite possible the character will fail. The other characters might find him out or succeed despite his efforts, but that should be part of the fun. Or suppose a doppelganger replaces a PC. The DM works out with the player to continue playing the character, who is now really a monster with an agenda of his own. Conversely, a single player may wish to play an evil character with goals similar to, rather than opposing, those of the rest of the group. Now the conflicts between characters are more likely to be philosophical rather than physical. The evil PC will probably have different methods than the rest of the characters. If the DM feels the players will enjoy the sort of conflict rather than be distracted and annoyed by it, it can be a solid choice for a long-term campaign. The players of the evil character may even plan for a character to find redemption in the company of the heroes, eventually changing alignment. Such a tale can make for great gaming stories long remembered by all. But we do have this note on detecting evil. A new character joins the group, and the paladin says, "I detect evil." This can completely ruin a player's character concept or the DM's plans to plant a ringer in the group. There are ways around this problem, however. 1. Not all evil characters have an evil aura that registers with the detect evil spell or similar spell-like ability. See the spell description in Chapter 11 of the player's handbook for more information. Oh, well, we should look at that. Undetectable alignment is a simple second-level spell that throws off detect evil. Misdirection and non-detection are arcane spells that also work. Yes, 3rd edition, when the game was all about putting templates on things. Wait a minute. What does it say over here? See the spell description of detect evil. Detect evil. Okay, it says in this edition, it says detect evil. You can sense the presence of evil. The amount of information revealed depends on how long you study a particular area or subject. First round, presence or absence of evil. Second round, the number of evil auras, creatures, objects, or spells in the area, and the power of the most potent evil aura present. If you are of good alignment and the strongest evil aura's power is overwhelming, see below, and the HD or level of the aura source is at least twice that of your character level, you are stunned for 1 round and the spell ends. Third round, the power and location of each aura. If the aura is outside of your line of sight, then you discern its direction but not its exact location. So aura power, an evil aura's power depends on the type of evil creature or object you're detecting and its HD. Caster level, in the case of a cleric level, see the accompanying table. If an aura falls into more than one strength category, the spell indicates the stronger of the two. For example, as indicated on the table, an evil outsider with 12 HD has an overwhelming aura of evil. A good cleric who casts the spell and directs it at the location of such a creature for longer than 1 round loses the spell and is stunned for 1 round if his character is 6th level or lower. An evil aura lingers after its original source dissipates in the case of a spell, or is destroyed in the case of a creature or magic item. If Detect Evil is cast in the direction of such a location, the spell indicates an aura strength of dim, even weaker than a faint aura. How long the aura lingers at this dim level depends on its original power, and we've got a table on that. Animals, traps, poisons, and other potential perils are not evil, and the spell does not attack them. Each round you can turn to detect evil in a new area. The spell penetrates barriers, but 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt blocks it. So that didn't give me exactly the information I was expecting to, because it says not all evil characters have an evil aura that registers with the Detect Evil spell. See the spell description in Chapter 11 for more information, but that wasn't all the information that I would like. Non-detection? Is that a spell? Because, yeah, that I was looking for more info than that. An evil party. While non-standard, it is not uncommon for a group of players who want to turn the tables for a time and play evil characters. It does not make them bad people, nor does it make them childish. The DM plays evil non-player characters, NPCs, all the time, and the DM is generally as mature as the rest of the players. For most players, the choice simply provides a change of pace. So we have non-hero characters. Most of the time, players who want to play evil characters reject the traditional notion of the hero. They grow up wary of the sameness of always being the stalwart adventurers who save the town, rescue the princess, and defeat the evil goblins that threaten the merchant routes that go through the mountains. They see playing evil characters as a way to say no to the simpering mayor asking them for help, and they do as they like instead. Such a group of non-heroes can still partake in most of the adventures the DM creates. It is merely the motivation for the adventure that has to change. Monetary rewards, revenge, and other personal goals interest non-heroes. They have no interest in altruism, find no motivation in pity, and feel no sympathy for the less fortunate. Anti-hero characters. A good example of the anti-hero in fantasy literature is Michael Moorcock's Elric. This tragic figure is evil, but mostly because of the evil culture from which he comes, motivated by sympathy for others and by love, but also by terrible rage and hate. Elric is a complex character. He does good deeds, but he also uses evil methods, not to mention the terrible evil artifact sword he wields. An anti-hero is not terribly different from a traditional player character. The anti-hero enjoys a good life and often rails against injustice, but the anti-hero usually puts himself before others. He freely acts on feelings of vengeance, and he possesses a different moral code than that of traditional hero, or no code at all. The anti-hero kills those who get in his way and threaten him. He has no interest in redeeming wrongdoers or seeks no redemption for himself. Players attracted to playing anti-hero characters want to do the things the other PCs do, but they imagine their characters having a real dark side. Some enjoy the unpredictability of the anti-hero. Will he save the kingdom or destroy it? But then we also have villain characters. Some players want to see what the other side is like. They want to play the characters who instigate the evil plans rather than the heroes who react to them. There are 2 ways. Oh, we got more. There are 2 ways to play villainous characters. How many people have actually played evil campaigns? I said I played in one evil. It was like a one-shot. It was a one evil one-shot, but it was just basically for fun. And like I said, it was basically a comedy rather than anything more serious. It was, we just laughed most of the time through it for a change of pace. So the first is to play them up over the top. The player characters are villains who want to conquer the world. They may be evil monsters or even fiends or undead. The players have irony-tinged fun when their characters battle against paladins or good-aligned clerics. Perhaps they even fight PCs similar to the good characters that they play in previous adventures. Villain characters lie, cheat, steal, and to get what they want. Rarely is morality questioned in such a campaign, except for one simple rule. Everything turns upside down. What was once considered a good is now hatred, and everything that evil is embraced. Everything that was once considered good is now hated, and everything evil is embraced. Player characters may take part in acts that are awful or grotesque, but ultimately is not taken too seriously. Actual depravity or vile actions are glossed over or occur off stage. For example, a villain PC might have an NPC thrown into the dungeons and turned over for torture, but the actual torture acts are not part of the game. Often players in such a game feel oddly satisfied when the campaign comes to an end and the villains they have been playing gets what's coming to them. The second way to manage a villainous campaign could be called the dark-hearted villain method. This player character uses the rules of suggestion found in this book. Rules and suggestions found in this book. It's not terribly different from the over-the-top method, except that things are taken more seriously. The characters worship demons, destroy souls, take slaves, and face some of the same depraved addictions and fetishes that NPC villains might face. Many players feel uncomfortable in campaigns like this, obviously. The DM should not use this approach if not all players want it. So we've got information on the evil campaign here. Evil PCs getting along. Two evil PCs do not have to come to blows just because they're both evil. Evil characters with similar goals or common foes can certainly work together. There's no reason to think that evil characters cannot respect something like friendship. Intelligent evil characters realize, just as non-evil characters do, that they can accomplish more by working together than by working at cross purposes. An evil cleric is better off with an evil fighter companion than alone in the dungeon. An assassin can use the firepower and spells of an evil wizard backing him up. So in conclusion, I suppose all of this comes to this. It's been said before, but it bears repeating. This book is not an attempt to glorify evil, but to define it and quantify it, and in doing so opens up new opportunities for D&D campaigns of all sorts. Whether the PCs prepare for battle against a demon lord, or they join the ranks with that demon is a decision for the players and DMs of each campaign to make for themselves. No matter what that decision is, the material in the Book of Vile Darkness will inject added depth and realism into the adventures that spring from that decision. It's unlikely that any single campaign could make use of all the equipment, feats, prestige classes, spells, magic items, and creatures in this book, and that's okay. Choose the parts that enhance and contribute to the tone of your campaign while keeping in mind that the fundamental goal of any D&D campaign is the enjoyment for those who take part in it. Well, there we go. We have now done the Book of Vile Darkness. What do you think? I thought that it was a surprisingly good addition to the game. It seemed like it covered a lot of good material. Like I was saying, I was underwhelmed by the Book of Erotic Fantasy. I kind of thought that it was what I was expecting it to be. But I thought this is a much better treatment subject. I wish that we actually had, and who knows, there's probably some kind of third-party thing out there. But if there was, we talked about how we could incorporate things like sex and sexuality into games. But if there were a book of like that handled that topic the way that this handled evil, it would have been a better book than the one that we looked at, I think. Zero Theory says it's unlikely a campaign will use all parts of this book. Challenge accepted. Okay, let's do, we're working on our 72-hour productivity challenge. So if you are here, I do want to take a look at that. And it's been a long time since we have taken the last few minutes of a morning grind to look at our productivity and how we want to use the rest of the day. We used to do that rather regularly. I need to find my index cards. But if you haven't been with us when we have been working on productivity and kind of our self-improvement and things like that, I'm going to bring that up so you know what it is that we are doing. So let's go over here. So let's transition over here to life by the
I manage my department, and I've been doing that for several years now.
Your department's just you, right?
Yes, Jim, but I am not easy to manage.
So if you want to join us for 72 hours of productivity, we want to talk about how we want to use the rest of this day. We're going to be doing a Crafter's Corner tonight. So at 7:30, I'll be live for another Crafter's Corner as I continue to try to get my Hero Quest Mage of the Mirror miniatures painted so we can do a show about that. So we've got to think about how we are going to use the time between now. It's almost 11 o'clock. It's 10:48 Central Time. I'm here in Central Time. So we've got until 7:30 p.m. tonight. And if you are working on creative projects like trying to paint things or get terrain made or whatever kind of creative project you're trying to do yourself, we will all be able to have the time to do that at 7:30 p.m. Central Time tonight. We will get back together and hold ourselves accountable. We'll actually talk about this when we got an evening stream tonight, so we can also talk about it on the stream tonight and see if we actually got stuff done. But we got to figure out, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? So here is a productivity technique that we can all use right now, even if you don't have one. It's called the index card productivity method, and here is what we can do with it.
Well, I manage my department, and I've been doing that for several years now.
Your department's just you, right?
Yes, Jim, but I am not easy to manage.
If you would like to join in on being more productive with me and everyone else here on the stream, but are in need of a system to help you out, here's an easy system that you can adopt and that I recommend. Grab a sheet of paper. I find that an index card folded in half is the perfect size for this. But if you don't have an index card, no problem. Any scratch piece of paper will work just fine. Just grab it and a pen or pencil. Think for a moment and come up with the 3 things that if you were to accomplish them today, you would know and feel that it was a great day. I bet you can take a breath right now and think for just a moment, and you will know what those 3 things are. We're going to call these 3 items our big rocks. Our objective is to move these big rocks during the day. Now, don't make the rocks too big, because then you can't move them. Rocks that are too big to move in about a third of a day, we call those huge rocks. Moving the huge rocks is our major multi-day goals in life. But in order to move them, we have to break up the huge rocks into big rocks that we can actually pick up and move around. But we don't want these rocks to be too small, because although small rocks are easy to move, we don't feel sufficient accomplishment when we move them. Moving the big rocks makes us feel accomplished because they advance us toward our objectives in significant ways. You decide what size tasks are small, big, and huge rocks for you. If you get all 3 of these tasks done, then go ahead and add a 4th or a 5th big rock. But don't do that unless you've finished your big 3. You want to look at your list at the end of the day and feel success and accomplishment. You can use your phone for this if you want to, but I think a sheet of paper is better because then you don't have to pick up your phone to check your list of big rocks and potentially get sucked into all the distraction on your phone. The phone will also let you put 20 or 30 things on the list, no problem. Half an index card will keep this tight and focused. I know there are dozens of things on my to-do list on my computer, and that's too much. This method allows me to extract what I really need to do during the day and focus on that. If you're already using a productivity method that you like, no problem, use that. Do what works for you. Now let's write down our big rocks and try to get them done between now and the wind down live stream in the evening. That's where we check in, see how we did, celebrate success, and see how we can improve tomorrow. If you need encouragement during the day, look to the Ravenkeep Discord server. It's a great and constructive community. Let's take over the Geekverse. All right, so that's our index card productivity method. But okay, so the problem that I've got here, let me go back to our auxiliary camera. Let's see. I have been doing a terrible job dealing with getting my big rocks done. I've stacked up all of these index cards because things are just not getting done. So I like to allocate. I've been trying to also allocate specific amounts of time to the tasks that I've got to do. So that way I know, like, how much time am I actually allocating during the day? This live stream is going to go for 90 minutes. So this is actually taking a bit more time than I was expecting, but that's okay. So I'm going to be spending, when I highlight one of my boxes on YouTube, it means I'm using that time for actually on-stream live stuff. So CCT for me is core creative time. So I was working on the script this morning. So that was core creative time. So I've got to, if I finish my core creative time, that will be one of my big rocks. I'm going to spend another 30 minutes working on the Tales of Rabavania script. This evening, it's going to be at least 30 minutes, 90 minutes, but it could be more than that of the Crafter's Corner. So I will stop doing YouTube after we have done with this show, and then that will be the rest of tonight. My lunch meeting got moved yesterday, and it was going to be moved to today, but it got moved again. So I'm not doing the lunch meeting. I have got to freaking clean my house. So I'm going to make this. So one of the issues, I got to make this a big rock. I'm going to make this. If I can work for 2 hours on the script, then that's going to be a big rock. If I can clean, I've let the house get a little bit out of control. So I'm going to clean for 2 hours today. And then I really need, one of the major things I've got to do is declare some colors for our action figures. But actually, if I could spend, I have got some stuff that I have got to do regarding the shorts, getting the shorts ready for the worlds that we're building. I've got some fantastic new ideas for that. So I'm going to say those are my 3 big rocks if I can accomplish the time. But over here, so my MBR, if you're CTA, I also have CTA over here. We got a bunch of acronyms. If you're new here, we got a bunch of acronyms for our productivity. CTA means answering the call to adventure. If you are up at the time you wanted to work, then you are CTA. And so I checked CTA. MBR, that's moved your big rocks. I have also got to get back on my diet. I hit my diet goal, and I was like, actually really easy and than expected about 3 weeks ago. But then I let back up. And so now I've got to make that even more serious and try to drop the weight. I'm going to try to get down to 170 pounds as soon as possible by adhering to a diet that is carnivore. AF means alcohol free. I got to be alcohol free in order to drop down weight. Watch rings. Now would also be a good time to recalculate your watch rings or make sure that your watch rings are actually doable goals for you each day. So I've got my watch ring set. So I hope I can get my watch rings. And then actually words right here. That's if I have written the words that I need to write for whatever story or book or that I'm working on at the moment. So I'm doing that in core creative time. So I'm trying to allocate my time in this way, and I'm trying to make sure that I achieve all of these things by the end of the day. I didn't weigh myself this morning. I'm kind of scared to that because who knows where it's going to be, because I got off my diet. I got off my structure. So if I can do these things, that's accounting for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's actually accounting for 11 hours in my day. And that's more than I generally like to do. But I think it's because I've got some extra YouTube up here, because it's difficult to make the time do what you want it to do. Very difficult. But if I can do that, that would be great. So maybe we'll be able to do that. What are we doing over here? Zero the Blade says, I have a lot of bullet points to organize for the tabletop RPG. Well, that can be one of your big rocks that we are trying to move today. Micah says, I'll actually be asleep most of the time for today and tomorrow, being up at night instead, then working on the 3rd night. Well, if that works for you, I'm typically a night owl. So in whatever structure and time works for you, I am typically a night owl. That seems to be the way that I naturally drift. But I feel much better personally. For me, if I can force myself up, because that's why I get away from it. If I can force myself to be up at 4:45 in the morning and be at my desk at 5 o'clock, I know it's going to be a good day and I feel good about it. So for me, even though I like sort of naturally becoming nocturnal, I got to be up in the morning and I like being up. That's one reason why I run the morning grind at 9:30 a.m. Central Time, so that if I can get up, do work and get core creative time done, then I can come on here and talk about geek stuff on the morning grind. And then I have the rest of the day. Micah also says, I've got one huge rock that is heavy statistics and the rest isn't hard, just takes time. Well, hey, let's move that huge rock. Let's try to, can we move it by the Crafter's Corner tonight? Zero Theory says, Cyborg campaign tonight, got to rock that adventure into shape. Well, that can definitely be something that's got to be done. But, how much time, allocate time to getting the adventure ready. Micah says, I was working overnight stocking, so kind of have to. Oh, you work overnight stocking. So, yeah, so if you've got a job where you work night shift, then that does move you into that kind of thing, obviously. Slight Quill says, I'm working on mapping out a new campaign setting and planning a first adventure. Took a break to do something else because I tend to burn out too easily. But I love world building details. Me too. Obviously, that's why I do World Building Wednesday. Okay, so that's how I'm going to try to structure the rest of the day. I got 2 minutes until 11 o'clock, so I need to get out of here so I can check just those 3 boxes. And then I'm going to try to make these things happen. I will see everybody tonight for the Crafter's Corner. I'm going to set up a YouTube link for that soon. And then also for the War of Kings tomorrow. That way the links are already out. I like to do that in advance, but sometimes I forget and I don't have it ready, but I like to have that in advance. So I think it's going to be a good Crafter's Corner tonight. It might be Cameron tonight. We might be talking about good and evil and storytelling. If it's Cameron who is on the Crafter's Corner, you don't want to miss that because it was a fantastic conversation. All right, everybody, go have a productive day and a creative day. I will see you tonight at 7:30. Also in the Discord server. Don't forget the Raven Keep Discord server. If you need encouragement for your productivity during the day, let's use the productivity channel. So everybody, Be productive, be creative. I will see you tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Time for the Crafters Corner. And